myself like, okay, you got that off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I got to regroup on for real.
And what it is you know that it's not because of you. You know that, and then that takes a little bit of the sting out of it. And then that allows you to take a step back and move forward. Patrick, talk to me. So how do you deal with setbacks, Patrick?
Yeah, he don't answer.
He answers. He's unmuting right now. Did you do it, Patrick? So Patrick, how do you deal with setbacks? There you go.
What you gotta do is realize part of the experience is to have the setback. And I look at it this way. We didn't have choices when we were in prison. You were allowed to do or have certain things. A setback is an experience. Don't look at it as a trauma or a problem. Look at it as, hey, I can learn from this, and if I do better, fine. If I don't, accept it. Like he said with the serenity prayer, we have to accept what we can't change. And even though we want different outcomes, you're not always going to have a different outcome.
Right. Sometimes it just is what it is. It just
because
is what
you
it
talk
is.
about that
deal
too.
With it the way that it is.
Sometimes we can't change things. It doesn't make it good or bad. And sometimes we look at it as bad, but we're here experiencing it. When we were in prison, we weren't experiencing too much of anything.
Got you. Thank you.
That's a great way to look at it. It's an experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's an experience, and like, going back to the old serenity. And I don't even know the serenity, but I know of it.
Right. Well, you use it, you practice it. You know what I'm saying?
God, give me the strength.
Yeah.
Not let me, but,
okay.
I got it in my own prayer every day.
Okay. Yeah. So, Latanya, since you're in the house, talk to us. How do you deal with setbacks? Huh? Okay.
How do I deal with it? I pray.
Setback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I pray the serenity prayer, and I go to sleep.
Okay, just rest on it, huh? Yeah, prayer is a good one too. Prayer is a good one. How about you, darling?
The same thing. I just say a prayer and go to bed. Yeah.
Yeah.
All I can do. There's nothing else I can do about that.
And you, sir?
I take a time out. I really give myself a time out, and I give myself time to reflect on what it is that I'm feeling, the actions and every consequence that come with how I'm going to react to what I'm looking at, how I'm feeling. And then I have a person that I talk to. So whenever I start feeling these funny feelings or felt a special way and I can't process it, I usually get an outside opinion from somebody that I trust that's been in the places she's been in the same place I've been. So she knows how I think as a felon. And she generally gives me, and then I had a peanut gallery. I usually call one of these, and they give me some real, understand this, these ladies give me some of the most profound information that I need when I need it.
Back off of James, I call my sponsor.
Okay.
And I 12-step with people because I work a program. So.
Got you. Yeah. Miss Ward, how's about you?
Ask me the question again, please.
The question is, how do you deal with setbacks?
I don't see them as setbacks.
Okay.
I see everything as growth.
Okay. And function from there.
Yes.
Move from there. It's a growth moment.
Yes.
You sure looking cute.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Missy, here we go.
Setback is a setup for a comeback.
Got you. That's all it is, huh?
That's all it is.
Something to do, an experience, like they say, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
Setback, set up and come back.
And then for this dude, what you do?
I make a joke out of it most of the time.
Okay.
Well,
And move on, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's not a bad thing either.
Yeah, because
Who's gonna make it worse? Who's gonna make it
yeah,
worse?
because it's, you know, it's easier to bullshit and it is to get serious.
And get all depressed and
Yeah.
upset about that stuff. Well, and for me, I'm good for the how do I fix it? I like to focus more on how I fix it than what the actual setback was. You understand what I'm saying? That's mine. Now, what about
You a
you?
fixer. My moniker, lessons learned.
Yeah, take it as a lesson learned.
I ain't finna do that again.
Yeah. But you know what that requires, which is really good, is for you to learn what you did, because that means you had to be focusing on you for you to say,
Sure.
I'm not doing that again. To create that circumstance, you had to focus on you. You're not focusing on
The other
everything
person.
else or the other person
the situation, is
or the
me.
circumstance. Billy, Billy, what you doing? They just let anybody into the house over there now, huh? Look, yeah, they let anybody in, huh, Patrick? And Oscar, what about you? What do you do? Oh, you gotta unmute for me. Unmute. There you go. Wait, Oscar, we can't hear you. There you go.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Yes, I try to understand people, but when something I don't like or when people say something, whatever, I like to check myself, try to be humble and change from people all the time, try to do the best. Sometimes tell the truth to people when they not need a responsibility, you know. But back then I used to tell them different way, really strong, because I thought was wrong, but I know now it's me. Like I had to change before I say something, before I do something. I have to be a humble person to admit it. Like I wrong all the time, no matter what, if I'm not wrong.
Good.
I don't know if I responded wrong.
Good. No, that's good. That's good, because again, what it sounds like is you checking yourself first before you checking somebody else, right? And you humble yourself to be about what's going on with you. You know, the thing I find is the most effective tool in anything is checking me first. Yes.
And you know, it takes growth for that. Like, I think it was just this year where I just stopped being the victim and took a step back in myself. Like, what can I do better? Like, starting to learn off of the situations.
Well, that is a huge lesson.
Yeah.
Right. So, not being the victim in your circumstance is enormous. I will tell you, it is the taking personal responsibility for my circumstances and everything and the situations that I found myself in was the one thing for me that caused me to grow more than anything else. Because as long as I was looking at what people had done to me or around me, I could never see the fact that I let them get close enough to do it. I was always, it was just a vicious cycle, right? But I had to realize what I did and how did they get that close, right? So like, I couldn't do this. Y'all see that? I couldn't pop him in the head if he wasn't close enough for me to get there.
Or if he wasn't present.
Right, exactly.
You have to take yourself out of the equation sometimes. You know what I mean? And those are the things that mainly in relationships, or whether it be work, whether it be school, whether it be somewhere that's a routine for you to be, it's, you know, how do you take yourself out of the equation if you have to be there? But in a relationship, it might be a little harder because you have that all the intricate details that make you, oh, he was just breathing. Just breathing hard over there.
Miss Maureen?
No, I'm just a dope.
Can you hear me?
But
yes, kid, we can hear you.
Every time I try to talk, she can't hear me for some
I
reason.
can hear you.
So,
Let me
but
see,
that's
can
the
I
thing,
do
you
this
gotta
here?
know how to, what part
Okay.
you played in the situation, and if you can, how to remove yourself from the situation. And if you can't remove yourself from the situation, what can you do differently to get a better outcome than what you got prior to that? Because if you got to go to work, you got to go to school, you got to be in certain places around certain people, So you got to figure out how, being in this space, how can I remove the situation from going anywhere left?
Yeah, and giving you the results that you don't want. Yeah.
I'm not being funny, but like if you live in one of Francisco homes, you have to learn to live with different people.
Mhm.
I mean, they come and they go, and I've always liked guys that work their ass off, do jobs, just
Oh, for some reason, I keep trying to do this here. It don't go through.
yeah. But
We can hear you, Kit.
Okay.
I'm saying that, and then you got the ones that don't want to do nothing. They want everything given to them.
Yourself.
Huh?
Yourself.
Yeah. And then they don't like the ones that's doing their best.
And that's because it exposes that they're not doing their best. A lot of times people, they don't like being exposed in front of other people, because sometimes just my presence of a person coming in working really hard, you guys working on the same job, and they come in and they busting their butt getting their work done, and you over there slacking off. Well, it begins to show them up. It exposes the fact that, well, how is it that they can do 15 of these in an hour and you only doing 7?
Yeah.
Right? What's the difference? And so now you become the problem, not the fact that they're not working, but the fact that you're showing them up and you're making it hard on the rest of them. I remember when we first started doing Concerned Citizens of South Central Los Angeles, the first apartment building that we built, and my mom got a lot of flack from other nonprofits in the area building affordable housing because they said she was setting the bar too high, because the units were nice, they were spacious, they had good amenities, and they were like, but you're setting the bar too high. It's like, but just because people are poor doesn't mean that they need to be living in cramped up conditions with no amenities. But it wasn't by anything she was doing to them as much as it was just by doing what she was doing. It exposed how terrible what they were doing was. Yes, ma'am.
I remember being a reentry, and I didn't like one of my co-residents because she got her kids back before me.
Uh-huh.
And now that I think about it, it was so petty, and I go back, it wasn't my time. She had been fighting her fight longer than me. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So time.
Yeah, and here you thinking you jealous really, and not realizing that that's what it was, and deciding that you didn't like her. Yeah, and it was because she had accomplished what you wanted to accomplish and hadn't yet been able to accomplish that. And speaking, this topic is really big when it comes to that kind of thing in terms of getting your children back. Once you come, there are a lot of setbacks in terms of that. They don't make it easy for you to, a whole lot of barriers, one set up right after another for you to have to overcome toward getting your children back. Yeah.
And also understand this. When you go into a situation, especially like a job, see what the atmosphere is. See what the work ethic is. Because you will outshine your way out of that job. So see what's going on. You know you ain't lazy. You know you got ethics. You know you got morals. But see what's the temperament in the job. Check the temperature there. Because if you go in there and you outshine everybody, guess what? You out of there. And it ain't because you're not doing a good job. It's just because you didn't pay attention to the environment that you was in and you didn't adapt to it. Not saying that it would make you lazy, but just be proficient of what they wanted you to do and just do your job. Don't go above and beyond, because guess what? Above and beyond gonna get your butt out of there.
And you know what? And that's so real. I have a friend, she's working at a law firm, and the office manager didn't really know how to talk to people. She was not good at her job. But I asked my friend, I said, well, how long has she been there? She said 21 years. I said, so that tells me that the people that run that law firm, the people who own that company, love her and whatever you find is what you find. So you got to make up in your mind, you're going to go in there, do your job, get your money and go home.
Don't take it personally.
And it's not about you. They have no intention on changing how it operates up in there. After 21 years of her being disrespectful to people and all of those things, They knew who she was. They operated it the way she operated it, the way that they wanted her to operate. Whether she said, well, somebody was saying, I wonder what she has on it. It don't matter what she has on them. The bottom line is, like you said, you come in, check the temperature.
This
Check the
thing is just
temperature, see
messing
what's
up.
going on, see what the culture
I
is
don't know
in
why
the
it's
business.
doing it, but it's messing up.
See what the
You
culture is.
can't move with
And then
this
from
thing.
there, you can determine what your position is going to be, because you're not going to go in and change the way they operate. They had that lady there for 21 years. They had no intention for her to be no different. So at the end of the day, when you go in and you got to figure out what your goal is in any company once you go in and figure out the lay of the land. Because if you find it's something that you don't like and they don't operate the way you like it, you got two choices, stay or go. But you are not going to change that company. Unless you own it, you're not going to change it. Terry, so I'm glad you're back with us, sir, Mr. Terry. So how do you deal with setbacks?
I take one time at a day, Noreen. I was working for Meyer Wineries way back in the 30 years ago. And I worked for them for about 2.5 years. And then they started laying everybody off. And I said, oh, I just started. So I just took it one day at a time and went to another job. But I always look at the job and the performance of the people around it. If they're in there and they're drinking on the duty, on the job, I don't want to be there. But I was always an alcoholic back in the day. But now I know what to look for and how to react to everything.
Good.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Good stuff right there.
Yeah. What other ones you want to talk about, sweetie?
Just basically understanding that we all got the bullseye on our back. That goes without saying. And this one right here, shit happens.
Yeah, right.
So when it happens, you know what? Take it on the chin, like I got on the Muhammad Ali shirt. Take it on the chin, a rope a dope, and keep it pushing. Cause shit gonna happen. It's life. I ain't say real time.
Right, it is, and
real time,
and it's moving, and you're not going to be able to avoid every setback. But again, how you respond to that setback is really the most important thing. And I'm glad that we even talking about that. But I have to tell you, Miss LaTanya, that was so profound that you figured out why it was that you didn't like your coworker or your reentry mate. You know, that was huge.
Tony got something to say.
Go ahead.
I don't have anything to say.
What? You wasn't pulling up your chair for nothing.
I was just pulling up my chair so I could just listen intently. You know, I'm thinking.
You got something to say, Diane?
We don't do that no more, Di. We don't. We can't. We don't.
I didn't want to talk when I said it.
Okay.
And you know what? When you do grow and when you do change, that just builds more resilience in you. Yeah. You know what I mean? It builds up the resiliency to where you can withstand a lot of. We didn't been forced to the fire.
Yeah.
This is child's play, but it's just a different game, and it's a lot of different players. So and it's so crazy because unlike prison, it can be instantaneous or a build up. But you can normally feel it, especially as an individual. Out here, you can't feel it. It could just come. And you be like, whoa, what the hell? I didn't expect that. No, you didn't, because this is the real world. This is not the prison mentality and the things you see that line up sometimes. So you'll see an asteroid come through and be like, whoa. But it builds up your resilience when you dealing with them setbacks or whatever it be. And you know, you move forward and you grow from it.
You know, inside they don't really teach you to come out here, and you learn. I ain't gonna call it bullshit, but you learn a lot of that shit in those meetings, and it sounds good, and it glows, but then when you come out here, it ain't here.
It don't apply.
No, not a bit.
Yeah.
Not a bit.
Well, and I think, like you said, Terrell, earlier, it is changing a little bit because some of the groups that I was doing in the prison, they're starting to let us, they were letting us focus more on reentry and what to do and how to be successful in reentry. I think because they recognized they couldn't keep overcrowding the way that they had been. It was not out of benevolence or some great thing, or they realized something needed to change. It's because
and something else.
The culture shift.
And something else. The paradigm has shifted.
Mm-hmm.
It's a culture shift, and it's trillions more dollars in reentry.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
guess what? You guys that's in here programming, guess what? We're gonna allow you to facilitate these classes. You want to go home early, you're gonna be in these classes, but guess what? Every time you step in that class, that's more money to the prison. That's more money to the
for the
CDC.
programs that they
So-
for the programs that they pay.
And
Yeah.
they get money. They get more money allocated, just like POs get money when they send you back to prison. The COs get money, and the ward get money, and the administrator and all the people get money when they bring in programs to them prisons. Because the people just interchangeable. But the money and the dollars that get thrown at them, that's what they at. But the thing about it, it's a good thing, because look at on the streets right now. You got a whole bunch of lifers and people that didn't have, they was, without life. They on the street.
Mm-hmm.
But mainly because they got into those programs, for programming, but they got something out of it up here. So when they went to the board, they knew what to say. They knew how to act. They got some type of decency about themselves, the code switch when they got in front of them people so they can get their butts out. As opposed to just staying ignorant. I ain't going to group, I ain't get my time, I'm gonna do all my time. Yeah, you're gonna do all your time. But if you was a lifer or a lifer without, hey man, this might earn my freedom a lot faster. So you ain't caring about the money they getting, you just thinking about the intel that you getting, so when you go to the board, you can come home.
And the thing that's interesting is that a lot of the programs do provide all that stuff that glows.
Hey, Miss Maureen.
The fluff and the stuff that glows, they provide it, and some of it is actually useful.
Yeah.
Right?
Miss Maureen.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? Okay, I've been trying to do this since 6 o'clock.
Listen,
This phone,
and we've been
this
hearing
phone-
you
this-
talking about it wasn't working, and I kept telling you we could hear you.
okay, this phone will keep going in and out, and it goes back to Zoom. It goes
Okay,
back to
so
the original
So
Zoom.
let me ask you this: how do you deal with setbacks, Kit?
Okay, and I've been doing this for 3 years. If anybody can deal with it, I've been dealing with it. I go back and I try again, and I try again, and I try again. I do not give up. I done came up here 4 times to this Zoom meeting just to say this one thing. After 3 years, I have successfully moved out of the St. Francis home.
You're
I have
out!
successfully got my own apartment. I have successfully moved on my own.
Congratulations!
I am.
Yes.
Did they boot you?
So you got out, huh? You hear me, Kid? He gone again. That's all right. He came back 4 times so he could tell us, and maybe he'll be back next week and we can congratulate him again. But that's awesome. He had been trying really hard and been having difficulty finding a place, and then he got the voucher, and and so now he's right, and now he's he's in his own place. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful way to deal with kind of place to kind of land on today. But I want to ask you, Terry, any final comments or thoughts about the topic tonight?
Well, Noreen, I've been going by one day at a time here. I'm looking for an apartment, and setbacks is not that hard on me. I'm used to everything, so I just go from one day at a time. And I go, like, say, I walked into an apartment, fill out an application, lady said it'll be a 5-year waiting list. Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day. And go to the next one, 5 years waiting list. Come back another time. Because you'll call it about 6 months. It's stuff like that, and that's not a setback. That's just how it is.
Life, yeah.
One question.
Yes.
Life.
Question. Do you guys do about Brilliant Corners?
Who?
Brilliant Corners.
Green Corners? No, I don't.
Brilliant Corners. It's for
Huh?
housing. They do housing.
Green Corners?
No, brilliant. Like really smart, brilliant.
Brilliant Corners?
Yeah.
Never heard of them.
Okay, well, we're gonna make sure y'all get their information so y'all can call them and try to set y'all up some housing, because they do special housing. You working, right, Terry?
No, I'm retired. I'm 70 years old, and I'm just looking for a senior citizen apartment
Okay.
until I get all these other courses done, and then I can get a job.
Well, Brilliant Corners are, they're funded by the state, and they help, anybody that's justice impacted get housing. Normally it works if you have a job and they do subsidized housing. But in your case, you're a senior citizen, you're on for retirement, right? So
Yes.
it would be good for you to contact them and see how they can help you out, because the